Hello and welcome to this lecture on relationship between drug concentration and response. In this topic, we will discuss the concentration effect curve and receptor binding of the agonist. Then we will discuss the receptor and effector coupling and what are pair receptors. Then we will discuss the competitive and irreversible antagonists. Then we will discuss partial agonist, and then we will discuss the other mechanism of drug antagonism. When we talk about concentration effect curve and receptor binding agonist, let's take a look of figure 2.1, where we have the example of drug concentration, and then on the left side we have the drug effect. And if you see, with the increase of the drug concentration, the drug effect initially increases. So it means at initial stage, the increase of the concentration is responsible to increase the drug effect. But as the concentration increases, the drug effect slightly diminish. It means the effect will be less and reduced till at certain condition we will get the E maximum. It means the maximum effect of the drug concentration. So initially we able to understand that the effect will be exponential increase with the increase of the drug concentration, but then with increase of the drug concentration the effect will be decreased. Why with the passage of time the effect will be reduced? The answer is because we need to understand that the receptors, there are number of receptors. It means that there is not only one receptor, there are maybe more than 10, 20, or more than a number of receptors, more than one. So what will happen? These drug will bind with the receptors, and then with the passage of time the receptor occupancy has been decreased, and this decrease of the occupancy of the drug binding to the receptor, when decrease, then the effect will be reduced. It just like a simple example. When you go to the classroom, in the classroom if there are 50 seats, so what will happen? There must be 50 students must be accommodate inside a class. So what happen after the 50 students that will come inside the the class has been occupied. So a further increase of the drug can never be able to enter inside the receptors and can produce effect. So this is a common example. In general terms, you need to understand that the number of receptors, it means the quantity, how many receptors are there is important. And when a drug binds with that receptors, with the passage of time, the increasing concentration, the receptors will be occupied, and then at certain level there will be no effect. There will be reduced effect, and we term this state as steady state concentration. We also discuss this level is as steady state concentration. We will discuss later on. How can we explain this curve in terms of mathematical equation? We have two equations. One is the equation in which we talking about E is equal to E max into C divided by C plus EC50. So what are these factors? Emax is the actually the maximum effect that will be produced by the dose or by the drug concentration. C is known as the observed concentration. And then we have EC50, which is the concentration of the drug that produce 50% of maximal effect. So this is actually the EC50, and this talking about the efficacy or the effectiveness of the drug that produce 50% of the effect. It means the half of the effect. And we can calculate from the drug concentration as we discussed before as well, that it can be explained in term of logarithms. Why? Because there is an exponential increase, and when the concentration effect become half, we can use this value inside the equation to calculate the E value or the effect observed. The second equation is actually similar to the first equation. The only difference is that in the first equation we're talking about the effect, whereas in this case we're talking about the receptor that has been bound with the receptors. So it's actually this equation is talking about how many receptors has been bound with the drug, and it can be explained in terms of the B. It means that we can explain the B is the total concentration of the receptor sites, and that the total concentration has been present with the maximum concentration in which the receptor site bind. We can say that the site bound to the drug of infinity at high concentration. C is the concentration. Kd is the dissociation constant. We can call equilibrium dissociation constant. What is meant by equilibrium dissociation constant? You have to understand, uh, if you have studied in your schooling about, uh, there is a term that has been used to explain is law of mass action. What is law of mass action? Law of mass action is actually in generally described as the chemical reaction which is proportional to the product of the masses of the reactive substance, and then it produces the effect. And we discussed this thing in our school as well, that every chemical reaction there is a reactant and there is a product, and then the chemical reactant uh, is proportional to the product of the masses. So same like in case of the drug, when we talk about the drug is also a chemical, and this chemical drug has to be dissociate into active metabolites. And this is actually they are talking about in this second graph, where they express the equation B, in which it means the concentration of the drug that has been bound with B max with the maximum concentration in which the drug has been bound to the receptors. And then they explain in terms of the KD, which is known as equilibrium dissociation, which explain that dissociation, that how much the drug that has been bound with that receptor, or we can say that the half of the maximal binding that has been observed. If it is just like EC50, we're talking about in this equation where we discuss the concentration of drug that produce 50% of the maximum effect. So in this first equation, we're talking about the maximum of 50% of the maximum effect. Here we're talking about dissociation, 50% dissociation of the drug concentration that bound with the receptors. So that two things that has been explaining in this two graph. When you take a look of these both figures A and B, and then you take a look of the graph, this graph is look like hyperbolic. What is hyperbolic? Hyperbolic is actually the shape of the graph. So the shape of the graph is just like a hyperbolic. So that's why they term as the expression in terms of the relationship between the drug concentration and drug effect is hyperbolic. So this is was used to express the relationship between the drug concentration and drug effect, or drug concentration versus the receptor that bound with the drug. Okay, let's discuss the receptor effector coupling and sphere receptor. So when we talk about what is coupling, you have to understand first that the receptor and drug relationship, what actually a drug do to the receptor. So the first thing that a drug when binded with the receptor is actually they change the receptor. Means we discussed one time in the last lecture that we formed a drug and receptor complex. So what complex it look to be? Actually, when a drug that bind to the receptor, it changes the receptor size or shape. Like for example, when the receptor is ion gated, so what happen? The drug when it binds with the receptor, it allows the drug molecules to go in by changes in the size. Maybe the receptor become in such a way that it allowed a drug molecule to go inside. You have to understand that uh, when we talk about our cell are made up of cell membrane. We have the lipid bilayer membrane, and then that lipid membrane has contain receptors. So what actually they do, that when a drug want to go inside to the cell, so it has to be go inside through the receptors. It is not possible like that you asked a drug to go inside to the cell and then the drug has been going inside and then it produces effect. No, the receptor is like a gate. It's just like example that somebody knock your house, you will not allow unless the you have to see that the person you know them, and then you identify or recognize that person that this is your family member, and then you push the button and then the person come inside your home. Same like the drug cannot go directly inside to the body. It has to be come through receptors, and then how it come to the receptors by conformational changes in receptors. In such case like in ion gated channel, it will be maintained or managed through ions, and there are different way to explain receptors we will discuss later on. But in generally you have to understand that this drug receptor complex is actually that will be produced. Why? Because there will be some conformational changes or the change in size and shape of the structure of receptors. So the change in the receptors allow the drug molecule to form the complex, and then the drug molecule can go inside, and that process is known as coupling. So you can see that this drug is males, for example, this is a female. Suppose so it's just like a male and female couple, so that's why the term has a coupling. So this you have to understand that the conformational changes are important to understand that receptor and effector coupling. Let's discuss the receptor reserve and sphere receptors, and I will illustrate that what are receptor reserves. You have to understand first that the drug which has to be bound with the receptor to produce the effect. So we know that these are the number of receptors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the drug molecules that bind with them. So if a drug is full agonist, it bind to the receptors and then it produce the effect. You have to understand that in the body there are not only 5 receptors, there are maybe many receptors. You can explain in terms of that. The receptors, there are maybe many receptors. But when a drug is full agonist, it occupies some number of receptors and then it produces the maximum effect. And the rest of the receptors that have not been occupied, it is known as receptor reserves, or you can say reserve receptors. It can be explained in terms of the sports, where you have 5 to 6 reserve players in your team, and which is not required in the team, but unless and until if someone get injured. Or for example, if a battery is fully charged, and the fully charged battery, the cells that are used inside are known as the full agonist, that is sufficient to produce effect. But if the number of batteries are not full, they are half, then it is known as partial agonist. So when we talk about a partial agonist, it means we need more drug to occupy these receptors. So if a drug is partial agonist, then it needs more drug to occupy in receptors. As we discussed that they are not only few receptors, they are number of receptors in the body. And then if the drug is full agonist, we only need small amount of drug that produce the maximum effect. And when, for example, the drug is partial agonist, then we need more drug that bound with the receptors. So that's how we explain these all receptors as reserved receptors or spare receptors. If you take a look of this graph, we have the agonist concentration C versus the agonist effect. In term of A, this is the complete agonist, full agonist. You can see that we don't need much concentration. The concentration, a small drug concentration is sufficient to produce the effect. Whereas when we move towards the partial agonist, we need more concentration to produce the desired effect. So it all depends upon the type of drug that has been used. A full agonist only need a small number of drug to occupy the receptors to produce the maximum effect, whereas partial agonists need more drug to produce the same effect but at high concentration. When we explain this, the graph about in C and D and E, we explain in terms of the antagonist that produce response. And what are antagonists? We discussed in the previous lecture that they bind with the receptor, but they are not is not responsible to produce the effect. They are just like a ligand, but they are not responsible to produce the effect. They bind with the receptor and then no effect will be produced. So in C and D graph, the antagonist, when they bind, then all receptors has been occupied at that time. And at that time, there is no spare receptors. And that is why you can see that at that time, the effect with the passage of time, it you can see in C and D, it diminish. The effect will be decrease and decrease because the antagonist is meant to decrease the effect of the drug. It can be explained when we discuss about drug interaction, when we're talking about different drugs has been given, and then if any adverse effect has been occurred, then we can give some antagonist to reverse the action of agonist. We will discuss these all detailed information in specific uh, treatments. So you just need to understand. Okay, when we talk about competitive or irreversible antagonist, you have to understand that the antagonist role is is like that. They bind with the receptor and then inactivate them, so the effect will be not produced. So we classify antagonist in two terms, like they could be like competitive or it could be explained in terms of irreversible antagonist. In competitive antagonism, that what happened that when you can see this graph, this is agonist concentration and then agonist effect, and you can see it with the increase of the concentration the graph go rise and then it maintain the steady state concentration when the equilibrium has been achieved. And when agonist has been given with the competitive antagonist, what happen? It is actually responsible to reduce the agonist effect. As I already discussed that if sometime we give patient some agonist and then that giving that agonist drug is responsible to produce the toxic effect. So what will we do if a patient is taking, for example, digoxin, and accidentally we giving high concentration of that dose of the drug, so and then the patient having some toxic effect, so what we will do, we will give then competitive antagonist that is responsible to reduce the effect of the agonist. So you can see in this graph, in the green graph, the agonist effect has been decrease with the help of competitive antagonist. And we know that the competitive antagonist, the antagonist, they bind with the receptors, and then it will not produce the effect. It means it will occupy the spare receptors, and then after then the concentration or the effect of the drug decline or decrease. So that's how we can explain competitive antagonist. When we talk about non-competitive antagonist or irreversible antagonist, you can see the difference between this. In the first blue line, the agonist will produce a response, but in this case, uh, they occupy all receptors, and then the response or to reduce the agonist effect or to decline or diminish the antagonist effect is can be done with the non-competitive antagonist. So in this case, the non-competitive antagonist, when they bind, they are irreversible. They completely block the effect of agonists. How can we differentiate the competitive antagonist and irreversible antagonist? The competitive antagonists, always keep in mind, you must keep in mind that they bind with the receptors same as site in the agonist, like agonist, and block the action of the agonist. Whereas when we talk about irreversible antagonists, they bind permanently to the receptors. And how they bind? By forming the covalent bond. Like the agonist effect has been declined very sharply. And when we talk about competitive antagonist, the it block the action of agonist by blocking with the receptors, but there are still some receptors that has been occupied, so the effect has been declined with time. It can be explained in terms of the spare receptors. Whereas when we talk about non-competitive antagonist or irreversible antagonist, they permanently block, uh, bind with the receptors. Okay, last we are going to discuss the other mechanism of drug antagonism. We are not going to discuss in detail because we will discuss in treatment by treatment. But actually, you have to understand in drug antagonism, not all the time that the drug has to be bind with the receptors. In some of the drug antagonism, it could be possible that the drug may mediate or may affect the endogenous regulatory pathways, and then by mediating that endogenous regulatory pathway, it block the effect. So thank you so much for today's lecture. Hope to see you again. Thank you.